Hello, you're watching New Vision TV News with me, Bulletin. We are going to take a look at the news around Uganda, around East Africa, around the world, and later in this bulletin, we shall take a look at our Daily Pulse of Africa series and a special report. We start off with the news around Uganda, where we look at stories making headlines across the country. We start off from Kasese district. Now, the Queen Mother of RWENZURURU, Christine Bira Mukirania, has died. She was pronounced dead by the doctors on Tuesday morning at Kilembe Hospital in Kasese municipality. She has been battling cancer since early this year. Bira is the mother of the embattled King of RWENZURURU, Charles Wesley Mumbere, and the State Minister for Agriculture, Christopher Chibazanga. Bira has been instrumental in spearheading peace and reconciliation in the RWENZURURU region since the 2016 clashes between the Royal Guards and the army. David Baluku, a trader in Kasese town, described Bira as a peace-loving person who spent most of her time preaching peace. We now move on to Hoima district, where it was a grand ceremony this morning as the BANYORO shared a meal offered by the Omukama to mark his 25th anniversary on the throne. 684 million shillings was spent on the function, including preparing the sumptuous meal which Omukama Solomon Gafausa Iguru served. Locally known as Impango, that is marked on June 11th every year in commemoration of the day Omukama ascended on the throne in 1994. Celebrations started with prayers at St. Peter's Cathedral, Hoima Municipality, to thank God for Omukama's life and enabling him to spend another year on the throne. News coming in from Mbara district. Now, a row has erupted at Mbara University of Science and Technology after the Vice Chancellor called for the interdiction of university's public relations officer, Dennis Lukaya. University staff opposing the decision have asked the Vice Chancellor to rescind it within 48 hours. Lukaya is accused of threatening violence against University Secretary Malkwaya Biarahanga and Professor Obua Clestine during a meeting convened by officials from the Education Ministry to resolve the earlier standoff between the VC and the staff. News from Ruwero district. Now, under the project, which was launched in Chichusa sub-county, a total of 500 selected households are to get free calf heifers from the government. Education State Minister John Muyingo said the program is to be implemented in 4 phases and is to cover all the 5 sub-counties in the constituency. 50 of the targeted 500 beneficiaries were each given a calf heifer in the first phase of the program. Another batch of 100 beneficiaries will receive their cows in August, following another 200, and later 150 will get. Now, in Kagadi, a cross-section of 250 sub-county councillors from 19 sub-counties and town councils on Monday staged a peaceful demonstration demanding over 100 million shillings arrears from Kagadi Chief Administrative Officer Malik Muhaba. The infuriated councillors, led by the Kagadi Town Council Speaker, who doubles as the coordinator, Mid-Western Region Speakers Association, Ernest Chakura, carried placards with words, "Cow Malik Muhamba, pay councillors, please, or leave Kagadi district." Now, the councillors demanded to know why their peers in neighboring districts, including Kakumido, Chibale, Chenjeju, and Hoima, are receiving their quarterly packages from the President's office. From Arua district, now preliminary post-mortem results of Susan Badaru, a midwife who died giving birth in Arua, have been sent for examination. The late Badaru died of cardiac respiratory arrest at Arua Hospital last week. Reports say she died after the induction of anesthesia to aid the C-section that was to be performed. The family accused the police sergeant of not doing a good work, saying the case was not handled well. Meanwhile, Dr. Sylvester Ozivua of Mulago Hospital had asked the samples of her liver, heart, brain, blood and kidney for further analysis. Obizu, a sister-in-law, said she traveled to Mulago Hospital together with a police sergeant from Arua with 6 different body samples as instructed by the pathologist Ozivua. Ozivua assured the family that the results will be out in 2 weeks. We close off the news around Uganda from Butaleja district. Now floods are still raging on. They have reached most parts of the district, leaving several bridges, gardens and roads destroyed. This comes as a result of River MANAFUA bursting its banks and washing away bridges that connect Mbale, Tororo and Butaleja. Hundreds of acres of gardens and homes have been destroyed. This morning, properties from flooded homes were seen floating. Several families are now camping in schools, while others have fled their homes to live with their relatives in the neighboring districts of Budaka, Tororo, Kibuku and Mbale. Now floods have cut off some roads. Now vehicles and motorists are not able to cross. Pedestrians are crossing with the help of heavy-bodied young men who carry them at a fee. We now look at stories making headlines across the East African region. We started from Kenya. Now, Kenyan police have shot and wounded a man brandishing a knife after he climbed into the grounds of State House in the capital, Nairobi. The police have said the man is a 25-year-old fifth-year university student of mechanical science. He has been detained and he's being treated in hospital. Closing off the news around East Africa is a story from Rwanda, where Rwanda and Gabon on the move to strengthen bilateral ties between the two countries. The need was highlighted during President Paul Kagame's state visit in the central coastal country. He was received by his counterpart, President Ali Bongo Ondimba, with whom they held discussions at Palace de la Renovation in the capital, Libreville. In the news, making headlines around the world, we start from Sudan. Now, a top U.S. diplomat for Africa is going to Sudan this week amid the unrest there, the State Department has said. Now, Thibault Nagy, the U.S. Assistant Secretary for Africa, will call for a cessation of attacks against civilians. Workers have staged a national strike, which began on Sunday to pressurize the ruling military government to make way for civilian rule. News coming in from Greece. At least 6 people died on Tuesday when a boat carrying migrants sank near the Greek island of Lesbos, a Coast Guide said. Assisted by the EU border patrol boat, the Coast Guide said it had rescued 57 people. Scores of refugees and migrants have died this year while trying to cross the Mediterranean. Greece is hosting some 70,000, mostly Syrian refugees and migrants who have fled their country since 2015. From China and Hong Kong, scores of Hong Kong businesses have voted to shut down Friday as hunger builds over the government's push to allow extraditions to China, with opponents on Tuesday announcing plans for fresh protests and strikes. The financial hub was rocked by a huge rally over the weekend, the largest since the city's 1997 return to China, as vast crowds called on the city's leaders to scrap the Beijing-backed plan. Many are fearful the proposed law will tangle people up in the mainland's opaque courts and harm Hong Kong's reputation as an international business hub. In India, a 2-year-old Indian boy struck in a narrow well for more than 4 days was pulled out dead on Tuesday, triggering protests over delays in reaching the toddler. The case of Fitveer Singh captured national attention after he fell into the 33-meter deep well in the Punjab State district of Sangra while playing on Thursday. The disused well was just 23 centimeters wide, complicating desperate efforts by dozens of rescue workers and volunteers as locals and television cameras looked on. Closing up the news around the world is a story from Canada. Now, Canada will ban single-use plastics from 2021. The Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announced Monday, declaring it a global challenge to phase out the plastic bags, straws and cutlery clogging the world's oceans. He said less than 10% of plastics used in Canada are currently recycled.
I'm very happy to announce that as early as 2021, Canada will ban harmful single-use plastics from coast to coast to coast.
That is it for the news around the world. We now take a short break, but when we come back, we bring you the news in business.